Hey, what's going on, guys? In this video, I want to talk about a very easy way that you can go about finding stocks to trade without really having any serious investing or research background. And I know a lot of people like to use stock scanners to find trade ideas, but I've never really been a big fan of any kind of scanner because those don't really allow you to target a specific area of the market. You're kind of just looking through what could be hundreds of stocks that just fit whatever criteria you plug in. So this strategy that I'm going to show you today is very simple and straightforward, and I think it's much better than using random scanners because it actually does allow you to target a specific area of the market because you're able to zoom out and see the bigger picture, and then from there you'll be able to narrow it down to individual stocks. And as I said, this strategy is really for someone who just has no idea where to start looking for stocks. So hopefully this video helps, but be sure to watch all the way through because I'm going to be going through this process step by step, and then at the end I'll show you exactly how to identify the strongest stocks in every single sector. So drop a thumbs up if this video helps you out along the way, and let's get into it. All right, so step number one is to build a simple watch list. And this isn't going to be a watch list filled with stocks because, well, we don't have any yet. But instead, it's going to be a list of 11 ETFs that track the major sectors in the S&P 500. Now, all of those sectors are listed right here, but I'll also leave a cheat sheet down in the description below to show you exactly what all of these are and the ticker symbols that go along with them. And also, just a little side note, even if you're not looking for different trade ideas, these are always good to follow on a day-to-day basis because instead of looking at the market and just saying, oh, the market's up today or oh, it's down today, you'll be able to look beneath the surface and see exactly what's happening and see why the market is up or down. So you'll have a better idea of what sectors are moving the market, and then from there, what stocks in those sectors are having the greatest impact. So I always like to keep these on a separate watch list to reference every day, but now let's just get into how we're going to use these. So it's pretty simple. Step two is just to identify what's up and what's down. So what's moving the market. If we're looking for buying opportunities, we don't want to be chasing sectors that are already up on the day or up on the week. We want to look for those that are correcting. And the idea of this is to start at the sector level and then zoom in to target specific stocks. So before we do this, let's talk about step three. All right, so step three would be to identify the sector strength and see how well it's been performing over the past 3 months, 6 months, and 1 year. So for this example, let's pull up ticker symbol XLC, or the communications sector, which was down 0.23% today. So let's jump into my screen here and I'll show you how that looks from a technical standpoint. So here on my sidebar, we have 11 ETFs. So let's pull up XLC and head over to the 1 year chart. So right away, you can identify the sector strength. The index has been continuing to make higher lows and higher highs. So this is absolutely something I would want to be buying on pullbacks. And another big thing you can do is compare this strength to the S&P 500. So if we pull up a flexible grid and put the S&P on top and XLC on the bottom, you can see the very strong correlation in strength in this sector compared to the entire market. So once you've identified a sector and determined its strength to see if it is something that you would want to invest in, now you have to think to yourself, well, what stocks are in this ETF that's making it hit new highs every single week? So for stocks in the communications sector, you would want those stocks to look just like XLC. So this is step four. Find out exactly what is in that ETF. So here's how you can do that. Head over to marketwatch.com and search for the ETF. So we just talked about XLC, so we'll plug that in here. Now, if we go over to the holdings section, you can scroll down and see the top 25 positions by weight. So we have some of the big holdings up at the top, like Facebook and Google, but then you can work your way down the list and find some stock ideas that you probably haven't thought of before. So now you have a list of all these different stocks that you can check out and go through and see if it's something that you see value in. And since these stocks are the top holdings in the fund, they're generally the best companies in that sector. So you just went from having no idea where to start looking for stocks to now having a list of 25 different options in a sector of the market that is in a clear bullish trend and down on the day, which means that there's probably some good buying opportunities starting to open up. And these are just the top 25 holdings. So if you wanted to look for some more ideas and find out every stock in that ETF, maybe you wanted some smaller cap stock ideas or whatever it might be, you can just go onto the investment fund's website and then easily access everything right there. But MarketWatch is a great place to start. And aside from just trade ideas, this is also a good way to get some some well-known companies on your radar. So once you do this and start building a watch list, you can start researching all of these companies by looking at their fundamentals and technicals and then decide if it is something that you want to trade. And if you're doing this for all 11 sectors, you are literally going to have hundreds of stocks right away to start going through. Now, obviously, not every stock is going to be a buy, and they're all going to look different in terms of individual strength compared to the market. So this is going to take us to step 5. So for step 5, what I recommend doing is quickly going through the top holdings in each ETF and then cross-checking those stocks with the overall sector to gauge the strength of that individual company. Once you do this, you'll be able to build a separate watch list full of all of the strongest stocks in each sector. And by strongest, I mean those that are trading most in line with the index, similar to what we did earlier with the S&P 500. You can just pull up a flexible grid and put the ETF on top and then run through all of your different stocks on the lower screen to see which are the most correlated on a 1 month, 6 month, and 1 year basis. And yes, this is going to take some time, but once you become more familiar with the big movers in the market and develop all of these separate watch lists, I think it's going to be much easier for you to follow stocks and find good buying opportunities every week. So let's go ahead and check out a few on Thinkorswim real quick. Here we have XLC on top, and we'll just run through some of the stocks on the bottom. So the first 3, the big ones in the sector are Facebook, Google, and Twitter, which all look very good in relation to the sector. So I would absolutely look to be buying these on dips. But let's check out some of those other stocks on the list. So here's Verizon, which is a perfect example of something that looks awful. We have the sector making new highs while Verizon is making new lows. So this is absolutely something that you would want to stay away from. But then on the other side, we have T-Mobile, which also looks very good from a technical standpoint. So you get the idea. You can just run through and identify the strongest stocks in that sector and go from there. And when you're doing this, a lot of red flags like what we saw with Verizon are going to pop up, where you have the sector grinding to new highs while the stock is just fading and continuing to break down, even though all of the other stocks are continuing to push higher. So that's something to stay away from. You want to find those that have the strongest correlation, because that is where you're going to find the best swing trade opportunities. So hopefully this video could give you guys a starting point. It's just another way to think about it and an easy way to keep everything organized on your screens, because having multiple watch lists like this makes it very easy to keep tabs on what's performing well and what's lagging in relation to the market as a whole. So that's it for this video. If you guys want to talk about some other trade ideas with me and a group of other investors, I have a free Discord that I will leave linked in the description. So hit that subscribe button and drop a like if this video helped you out, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.